world of leaves and water kept turning, cautious but unchanged in its purpose. Time dulled the sharpest edges of both flood and plague, but not their memory. Those who remained were marked, not just by what had been taken, but by what they had survived. The plague did not leave them whole, but it did not erase all of them either.
New wings learned their roots from elders who had flown through flood and plague.
The valley had rearranged its paths, every creature adjusting around invisible scars.
Places that once stank of sickness began to sink back into the background of stone and time.
Some found new ways to live, seeking food that did not already stink of death.
They had learned, without knowing why, to be suspicious of still water that smelled like old wounds.
Even the hunters of the ground began, in small ways, to turn away from what felt wrong. The valley had not been cleansed. It had simply changed. The next generation did not know the plague by sight, only by where the elders refused.
They bred new patterns into their paths, drawing lines that skipped over old dangers.
On this ancient planet, the plague of the sky became just another layer in the rock of time. Some eyes cleared again, as if the sickness had only been a passing shadow across their vision.
The Ground King had not escaped the flood's hunger, but the plague had largely passed over its heavy frame.
The flocks were smaller now, but those who remained had flown through enough darkness to know its shape. Their wounds did not keep them grounded. Instead, they molded the shape of how they rode the wind.
For the first time in many cycles, some of the roosts held only sleep and not suffering.
The ancient sky looked down on the valley as it always had, indifferent to who lived or died below.
Those born after the worst of it dreamed in bodies that did not carry the pain of peeling skin and burning lungs. Its world still smelled of damp earth and old bones, but not of fresh plague.
It flew in a sky shaped by disasters it had never seen, guided by those who had.
The survivors carried caution inside them, as deeply as hunger and flight. The sky's map had been redrawn, not in stone, but in instinct and memory.
It had seen floodwaters tear through its world.
It could not tell its story in words, but its body carried it in every healed crack and strengthened muscle.
The valley did not forget tooth and claw, hunger and chase. But now, those who came after would think this peace was normal, unaware of how much had broken to make it possible.
Green returned, where once there had been only brown and red.
Water had once nearly ended them, then nearly fed them to extinction. Now it simply moved through their lives again.
What remained of the dead sank slowly into the foundations of the valley itself. For this brief stretch of night, the sky's survivors knew only warmth and silence. Without knowing why, it turned away from the dead earth and chose the higher path. A new day rose over a world that had survived flood and unseen fire. Morning rested easily on wings that had once trembled under the weight of disease. Beneath them, Bones and new leaves shared the same ground. Beyond the valley that had suffered so much lay places that knew nothing of its pain. The valley had already held many endings before flood and plague, and it would hold many more after.
Life settled into a new rhythm, quieter but still edged with the old dangers.
On this prehistoric world, flood had tested the bodies of the ground, and plague had tested the body.
Above them all, the sky remained what it had always been, a place of possibility and risk.
Still, as long as one pair of wings could rise, from above, the flood and the sickness that nearly ended them were just more shapes pressed into the skin of the land.
In the end, survival meant nothing more and nothing less than continuing to exist side by side.
Old pain and new possibility stood together on the same cold rock, sharing the same narrow space above a dangerous world.
This was a world without names for disease or disaster, only the fact of what lived and what did not.
On this ancient planet,